love paying taxes. No, you know what? Nobody loves paying taxes. But hey, rest easy. Maybe you're sitting there worried about where your tax money's going. I mean, you went to work today after all. Don't worry. The federal government, they've spent $4.1 billion of your money spreading America's religion all across the planet. Spreading our religion to Belarus and Nigeria and China. What religion is that? Well, of course, the LGBTQ religion. That's our foreign policy now in this country. The Rainbow Foreign Policy Team. This is what these people do with our money. Joining me now, Senator Ted Cruz, author of the book Unwoke, something you should really pick up and understand exactly what we're facing around here. Senator, my goodness, how did we get to a point as a nation where we're getting in trouble with countries like Japan because our ambassador over there won't shut up about the Rainbow Parade?
Look, Jesse, it's truly insane. And I'll tell you, the reason I wrote this book, Unwoke, How to Defeat Cultural Marxism in America, is because like millions of Americans, I look at what's happening in this country and I wonder what the hell went wrong. All of the major institutions in America have been taken over by the radical left. And so the book, each chapter examines a different institution. The first chapter is on universities, and I call universities the Wuhan lab of the woke virus. It's where the virus was invented, it's where it mutated, and it's where it spread. From universities, the next chapter goes into K through 12 education, then it goes to journalism, then it goes to government, then it goes to big business, then it goes to big tech, then it goes to entertainment, maybe the most dangerous of all of them, movies and television, music, sports. Then it goes to science. And then the final chapter in the book is on China, and it explains how China is a nexus that is intertwined with all of them. And the purpose of the book is really twofold. Number one, explain how and why the radical left, the cultural Marxist, infiltrated each of these institutions from the inside. And number two, to lay out a concrete plan of action, a battle plan to win these institutions back, to take them back. Because, Jesse, if we don't take these institutions back, we're going to lose our country.
We are. Our country is run by its institutions. Let's focus on that last part, actually, for a moment, Senator, if that's okay. China money. Obviously, the American taxpayer funds a lot of this filth, but China funds a lot of it, too. How in the world did we allow that to happen? A foreign communist country hostile to our interests, who's announced that they intend to bounce us off of number one, they're allowed to just spread this dirty commie money all over the country in a million different ways. How's there not a law against that?
Listen, I think China poses the greatest geopolitical threat to the United States for the next 100 years. And their objective, they're quite open about it, is global domination. When I arrived in the Senate 11 years ago, I was saying then that China was our biggest threat then. And at the time, almost nobody agreed with me. All of the Democrats disagreed, and most of the Republicans disagreed. They all looked to China, and they just saw dollar signs as far as the eye could see. China, they are malevolent. They engage in murder and torture. They engage in genocide. They run concentration camps with over 1 million Uyghurs in them. They engage in theft of intellectual property. And this book describes how they are in bed. If the Democrat Party today is structurally pro-China because their major stakeholders, big business, big tech, big universities, and big Hollywood, are all in bed with China, which is why the Democrats are in bed with China. And it is, I'll give an example. Let's take energy. So right now, the United States is the world's leading superpower when it comes to oil and gas. We're the number one producer in the world of oil. We're the number one producer in the world of natural gas. We produce about 20% of the world's oil and gas. We're energy independent. The Democrats' number one objective is the Green New Deal to move us to wind and solar. Now, when it comes to wind and solar, the rare earth minerals, the critical minerals that are needed for wind and solar, China has a stranglehold on virtually all of them. They produce 60, 70, as much as 80% of them. So understand, when you see a Democrat or when you see the corporate media say, let's shift from oil and gas to wind and solar, what they're really saying is, let's move our entire economy, our entire energy source from an area that we are the global superpower in to one that China is the undisputed global superpower in that would give communist China a stranglehold over our economy. That makes no sense.
Senator, hearing you describe all this stuff, and obviously people follow you, and it seems so, I don't want to say hopeless, because it's not hopeless, but it seems like such a mountain to climb when we have so many people within our own country hostile to our own interests. It's one thing if China hates us. Okay, that sucks. If one of the two major political parties is working with them against us, man, that seems like a tough road to win.
Well, look, this book, Unwoke, is a very hopeful book because it lays out a path and a way that we can win these institutions back. And there are a whole bunch of tools that I urge using. One of them is just sunshine and transparency. Look, the ideas of the radical left are wildly unpopular. No rational, reasonable person wants to abolish the police. That's a nutty idea. No rational, reasonable person wants open borders and the chaos we have at our southern borders. No rational, reasonable person thinks it's a good idea to medically sterilize and castrate little children. No rational, reasonable person celebrates the atrocities of Hamas terrorists. And yet, that is where the cultural Marxists are. They are on the wildly unpopular side of every one of those issues. It's why they rely on force and coercion and indoctrination. It's why they have leaned in so hard to take over universities and K through 12 and journalism and entertainment, because it's all about indoctrination. And when you see viciously anti-Semitic protests at universities all over the country supporting Hamas terrorists, it is because of this indoctrination. When you see TikTok, that is controlled by China, pushing pro-Hamas propaganda, it is because they are pushing this agenda. And so shining a light on it and then increasing the consequences, the negative consequences to going woke. So, for example, my chapter on big business, I talk about a few years ago how the incentives were all there for a CEO to give in to the woke mob because the costs of doing so were fairly minor and the benefits were enormous. The mob showing up with pitchforks and torches, they'd leave you alone, and so you could buy some peace. Well, I talk about in the book how what happened with Bud Light and what happened with Target, I think, were game changers. Both of them blew their brands up. They lost tens of billions of dollars. And it was really striking when Target, which happened right after Bud Light happened, the senior executives at Target were saying, we don't want to be another Bud Light. We definitely don't want to be another Bud Light. That's powerful. If we can increase the costs of giving in to the radical left, we start to take these institutions back. And then you put on top of that something else I talk about in the book, which is the state of Texas passed legislation that said if you boycott oil and gas, we're going to boycott you. Oil and gas provides millions of jobs in the state of Texas. And so if you're waging war on them, the state of Texas, our pension funds, our endowments will not invest a penny in your business. And I got to tell you, that has Wall Street terrified. And so we have to put in place incentives to increase the cost of going woke. And I think we're making real progress doing that.
I like it. Senator, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Come back soon.
Thank you, Jesse. Let me just tell all your viewers, the book right now, it came out just on Tuesday. It's in every bookstore in America. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at Barnes & Noble or Books A Million. And it's a bestseller right now. So I would encourage you, go right now and buy it. And in fact, Christmas season's right around the corner. So let me encourage you, buy one for your mom. Buy one for your best friend. Buy a book for your kids. Your kids need to know what's in this book. It's fun, it's readable, it has stories. You'll enjoy it, and it will educate you and entertain you at the same time. As I said, it's already a bestseller on Amazon, which has the New York Times thoroughly pissed.